Hi, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Fit Talk with Diva and KP. Tonight, we're talking about meal prepping like a boss.
Hey.
I know, right? Tips and tricks for everybody. Um, just a little bit of background. Clinesia and I started this Fit Talk as a way to basically reach out to more people and help more people and get our tips out there to more people, to a broader audience. We really have a passion for health and fitness, and that really comes from our personal journeys. I'll tell you about a little bit about myself. I started taking my health and fitness more seriously a couple years ago. I had a close friend of me pass away from high school, and it really just struck me that, our time on this earth is limited, and we really owe it to ourselves and we owe it to God to, do all those things that He's destined us to do and that He has meant for us to do. And it occurred to me that I really wouldn't be able to do all of those things that God had intended for my life if I wasn't taking my health more seriously and if I wasn't truly honoring my body and treating it like a temple. So it really became this passion of mine to, try and get as healthy as possible, try and feel as good as possible. I have this own little, wish of mine to see how good can I feel, how far can I push it, how far can I take it. So when people ask me like, how long is this going to last, or how far are you going to go with this thing, I'm like, I don't know, as far as I can take it, as far as I'll go. So with that, I lost 50 pounds. I decided to become a health and fitness coach and pay it forward. I'm still on my journey. I'm still pushing for more, still pushing for, better results and to really inspire those around me. Clinesia, do you want to give us a little background into you?
Yeah, you got me all emotional with your story.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm Clinesia. A lot of people also call me KP. And I have been a health and fitness coach for just under a year now. I'm also a certified PiYo instructor. But I have been on my fitness journey off and on for about 10 years now. It was about 3 years ago that I really decided to, make a change for good and kind of stop falling off the wagon. And it had a lot to do with just the place that I was in my life at the time. My job was very stressful. And I felt it, the job, the food I was eating, I was drinking a lot more. It was all taking a toll on me, not just physically, but mentally as well. So I decided to make a change and just turn my life around for the better. I prioritized my health and my fitness. And honestly, I haven't looked back since that day 3 years ago. And I'm so happy, like my life, the way I am today is so much better than I was back then. And all I want to do is share my story with other people, help other people, and not have to go through the same things that I did. I've always just wanted to help people my entire life. And I finally found my avenue to do that. So love being a health and fitness coach and would definitely love to talk to you guys more about that sometime. But tonight, we're talking all about meal prep and learning how to meal prep like a boss. Last week on the last episode of Fit Talks, we talked about the importance of meal planning and working from a plan. And we gave you guys 4 reasons that you guys should really start planning your meals each week. And so just to recap some of those, we talked about how when you start planning your meals, you can save time in the store. Everybody wants to save time, right? You go to the store, you're shopping from a list, you know what you're getting. You don't spend endless, aimless minutes and hours just kind of walking around picking things up. You also save time when you get home from work every night because you don't have to think about what you need to cook. You already know. You did all that work already. Meal planning also helps you save money. Again, back to the grocery store. If you know exactly what you're getting, you've probably planned your meal from your weekly magazine, from your work, from your grocery store, and you shopped for things that are on sale. So you know what you're getting. You're going in there, you're picking those things up that are on your list, nothing more. And so you end up spending a lot less money than you would normally if, again, you're aimlessly walking through the aisles and just picking things up at random. So when you start meal planning, you also are able just to eat healthier overall, okay? This has a lot to do with the fact that you already know what your next meal is going to be. When you get stressed out or when you get hungry at work and you need a snack, you don't have to think, okay, what's the closest thing that's around me, so I just grab something really quick, because you've already planned your meals and you prepared yourself. So you just know, okay, I've got X snack in my purse or in my desk or wherever it is, okay? And then the final reason that we talked about saying that meal planning is so important is that it helps you eat towards your goals. Now, somebody who is, let's say, wanting to lose a few pounds versus somebody who wants to, gain muscle and really build up and bulk up, they're going to have two totally different diets. So planning meals is going to be so, so important to each of those people to figure out what they need to eat so that they can either A, continue to lose weight, or B, continue to build up muscle and get to where, person B wants to be. So now that we've got kind of the meal planning part of this together, that kind of is the perfect segue into tonight's episode about meal prep, because once you plan your meal, you've got to get all your meals together for the week to make your life that much easier. So I actually did my meal prep today, but Deva, something that I love that you've talked about quite a lot is your method of organization when you do your meal prep. You kind of have this way of kind of getting things done, so you spend the minimum amount of time in the kitchen as possible. Do you want to talk about that and kind of share your secrets with people?
Yeah, because you guys know this is supposed to be real talk about health and fitness. And if I'm being completely honest and like totally real, I do not have like hours and hours like in the day to be spending in the kitchen. And quite frankly, I don't want to. Like, it's not where I want to spend my day. I like cooking. I don't mind it. I just don't want to be in there for hours. So when you go to meal prep and you have your plan already out, whether it's like on your phone, on your computer, printed out, like what have you, I personally like to print mine out or like have some type of hard copy to look at while I'm meal prepping. But it really helps if you follow a certain order. So the order I use is that basically the food that takes the longest, you're going to cook first. So that's typically going to be like your meat or your proteins. Then after that, I would do grains. So like if you need to boil a pot of water while you're cooking your meat, like do that, and then get your grains or your pasta going. And then at the end, you would like do vegetables. So if you're steaming them or anything, or if you're just washing and prepping them for the week, that's fine too. We talked about on the last show how, there are two different forms of kind of like meal prepping or meal planning, where you can either portion out each of the meals and like have 50 million different things of like Tupperware laid out, and you can put them all in the fridge if you have space for that, or you can kind of do it like buffet style where you will just cook the meat. And I did this on Sunday when I did my meal prep. Rather than separate out the meals, I cooked the food and just left it in a Tupperware by itself so that I would portion it out throughout the week as I ate it. And it kind of makes it easier for me, especially having a daughter who doesn't necessarily eat the same thing I do, but like she eats the same foods, if that makes any sense. So like she eats her foods in different portions, so she might get more carbs than I would. I definitely try to eat mostly vegetables on my plate. So we're different in that aspect, although we're eating similar foods. So it helps for me to sometimes do it that way and do like a buffet style. But as far as saving time in the kitchen, I will tell you, I made 3 pounds of ground turkey, whole grain pasta, and I did hard-boiled eggs in the oven. I probably cooked everything, I'd say within like half an hour. I was like in and out, bing, bang, boom. I personally eat my vegetables raw, so I didn't have to cook any vegetables or anything like that. And then I wasn't portioning out each meal. I'm doing that throughout the week as I go. So it was like everything's cooked, great. Everything goes in Tupperware, great. Everything's now in the fridge, done. I'm out. And I had the rest of my Sunday to myself. You're laughing at me.
Honestly, I did my meal prep today, like I stated earlier, and I actually used your method. Normally I'm the type of person that, I don't know, I just start cooking, get all my Tupperware out, lay it all out and done for the week. But today I was actually in a rush because one, I don't know, got lazy yesterday and did not do my meal prep Sunday. So of course I'm doing it meal prep Monday and I had somewhere to be. So I literally had an hour and a half max do any cooking, and I got it all done in an hour. And the thing that took the longest was that I was making a pot of brown rice, and that takes darn near 45, 50 minutes to cook. So that's what really took the longest. Everything else, I threw together, and within the hour, everything was in Tupperware and in the fridge, and I was ready to go.
There's some foods, and like if you're making a dish or something, those can take longer. And of course, those are the things that you would want to either start sooner, or if you make them in the middle of the week, you would like prep everything for it first, like cutting your vegetables, getting everything all together so you can just grab it and go and like throw it in the pan or in the crock pot or like what have you, and then like dash during the week. I will say that squash is one of those things that takes the longest. So if like you're making like a spaghetti squash or like acorn squash or anything like that, get that thing in the oven like ASAP, because it's going to take like an hour to roast, and then you're still going to have to like manipulate it in some way. So those like that, the brown rice, like those things, if they take long, you got to like start them right away. But when I first started meal prepping, I used to spend hours in the kitchen because I would go in order of how it was on my sheet. And I would start with like, okay, I make my oatmeal, and then it's like, okay, I got my oatmeal together, and then it's like, okay, I'll make my yogurt cup. And it's like, dude, like the yogurt cup is so quick. You should have got like that meat going, and then you wouldn't have to be like in this hot kitchen all day.
It's all trial and error though. You learn, and as you start doing it more and more, you get to the point where like you and I are, and it's like, oh, I'm in and out in 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah. That's why it's also good to have a coach, so that you have somebody telling you these tips and you're not like trying to figure it out on your own. It's like, this is what we're here for.
Hello. We've already fumbled through. We can tell you all the pitfalls.
Been there, done that.
That's awesome. Another thing that I really love to do as far as meal prep, and again, like I've said this before, and I will say it again and again and again probably, that I am queen lazy cook. And any shortcut I can find, best believe I know it. So one of my favorite things to do is to freeze meals, because that means whatever work I did one week, I can freeze some of that work, and it just made my whole life easier another week, because all I have to do is pull that thing out of the freezer that I made, defrost it, and hey, I'm done. That was the easiest meal prep I did, right? So a couple of my favorite tips about freezing things. In the wintertime, I really love freezing soups. So let's say, I'm going to make a chili or something. Chili is my favorite thing to make in the wintertime. I'll make a whole big pot of it, and I'm not going to eat the whole pot during the week. So I'll freeze a portion of it and save it for another week. I've done that with, lasagna before, because lasagna is pretty labor intensive to make if you do it the real way. I'm talking about not in a crock pot. But it's pretty labor intensive. So that's something that if I really am craving lasagna, like it's not something I want to do all the time. So it's awesome to be able to make a couple of smaller portions of lasagna and freeze whatever I don't use. And then, I get to still enjoy it another time and not have to do all the work. Freezing meat is something that I do a lot. If, I go to the store and I buy a lot of meat and I don't need to use it all in 1 week, I'll still marinate it and just stick it in the freezer. And that makes my life easier another week, just because I can pull it out, defrost it, and it's pretty much ready to go because I've already marinated it. And that lasts a while in the freezer as well. You can literally freeze entire meals if you want to. Stick all your veggies and your meat in a bag, in a Ziploc baggie together, throw it in the freezer, and then pull it out, and you could just throw it all in a crock pot if you wanted. Or, just pull it out, defrost it, and it's ready to go. There's so many easy ways to freeze entire meals and just make your life 99% easier than it'll ever be. I don't know why more people don't do it. And if you go and you look on Pinterest, I promise you'll find like all of these articles with like 100 ways to freeze meals. You can have like meals frozen for 30 days. Like I promise you meal prep will make your life so much easier. But I said something that reminded me of you again, Dava. So when you have these bags of, pre-frozen meals and you pull them out, stick them in the crock pot. I remember you telling me that the crock pot is like one thing that you swear by. And I really don't use mine enough. So I want to leave this to you to talk to everybody about.
Listen, the crock pot is like my best friend. I have this thing about like, I love cooking at home because I love how it like makes your whole home smell like whatever you just cooked. And to me that smells like home. So it's not like any one food like will smell like home to me. It's just the smell of home cooked food smells like home to me. And
Yeah.
nothing makes like your house smell better than like using your crock pot. And I have made just about like everything in the crock pot. But it's just a huge time saver. Again, like I'm big on time. I'm a single parent. I used to work like over 40 hours a week in a PR job, like in the city. Like, you know, I thought I was like living the life, Sex in the City, got this cool job, got this kid, like, but it was hustle and bustle. Like I was out of the house from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. at night. Like it's a very long day. Nobody has energy to be like slaving over a stove at that point. But man, I tell you, if I set that crock pot before I left for work or the night before, when I come home, it's like so much more relaxing. Like it smells great, one. Two, you know dinner's ready. You can make large portions in there. You basically, it's like I don't remember what infomercial it was, but it's like set it and forget it. And it's like you just set the timer and then you come home to like a whole cooked meal in the crock pot. I usually will cook like a whole chicken or like whole turkeys or like maybe like two hens in the crock pot. I'm kind of famous for my crock pot chicken. Maybe one day you'll try it.
I haven't tried it before, so I don't really know.
You'll just have to ask people that are talking about it. And I recently started making lasagna in the crock pot, like you mentioned. Like it's I don't even know. It tastes just like you would do it in the oven. Only I mean it's cooked a little bit slower, I guess, but it's just so simple and like the cleanup was that much easier. I've done that I think twice now. I actually did it for Thanksgiving and it was amazing. And then I did it like another time after that. But yeah, you can put anything. You can make soups in the crock pot. I've baked bread in the crock pot, whole wheat bread. Yeah. So like you said, Pinterest is amazing. You will find any and everything on there. You can type like whatever you want to make in crock pot, and I'm sure it will come up. I've made like barbecue wings. I've made hot buffalo wings like in there. You can do whatever you want in the crock pot. Basically, it's like a mini oven. Um, but it's just a really great time saver if you're pressed about time. And another thing about freezing meals, like you were saying, like if you were saying how if you bought a lot of meat, you can make a stew in the crock pot. But also that is another way to save money is buying things while they're on sale. Even if you're not going to be eating it all that week, get it while they're getting good, and then just freeze it.
Oh.
And then you can like just like you said, throw that whole bag of frozen food in the crock pot, go to work, come home, and be like, bam, I'm ready.
Literally pull your plate out and
pull your plate out. Yeah. So crock pot is like one of my favorite like meal planning tools, and I probably should use it more also. But do you have any tools that you like to use?
Well, now the crock pot is my favorite one.
I mean, it's also really good because in the summertime, then you don't have to turn on the oven.
Yeah. No, definitely going to start using my crock pot more. But yeah, there are a ton of tools that I think make meal prepping in general easier. We can start with the obvious. Obviously, you need containers to put your food in. Tupperware. I actually love to use the glass Pyrex containers just because they're super easy to portion out. They have the sizes that are just meal size. Pull them out, stick them straight in the microwave, and you know, just like one less thing to do. I don't have to pull out a plate and dirty it. Again, queen lazy. So I really love using Pyrex containers, but again, you know, Tupperware, whatever you can find that fits your food in it. If you, I know a lot of people use those sectioned containers, which makes it really easy because then you can, again, watch your portions and kind of measure things out that way. So that's an awesome way to store your food as well. Other things that make your life easier. If you're going to be eating a lot of eggs, maybe you can invest in an egg cooker. Me, myself, I just use a regular old pot and I boil them. But I have experimented with baking eggs in the oven and essentially making like hard-boiled eggs in the oven, which is cool, especially if you're making a lot. You can stick them all in, you know, in muffin tins and literally make a dozen at a time if you want to. So I love doing that. Tried it?
I did it Sunday, and they came, and I suck at boiling eggs. It's kind of embarrassing. I save my life. Like I can, and then if I do, then I can't peel them. But when I did them in the oven, I peeled them perfect. Like even my daughter Zuri helped me, and she like never usually helps. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. If a 6-year-old can peel the egg, this is what I'm gonna do from now on.
It's awesome. So I feel like whatever. A lot of people are like, "Oh, we can bake an egg," but it's like it can make your life easier, especially if I'm using other stuff. You free up some space. I really love
a rice cooker too, because you were talking about how that brown rice took you forever. Any of those little cookers.
the thing is with a rice cooker, you can. It's one of those set it and forget it things because it's gonna ding and turn off when it's done. Versus me forgetting about it on the stove or having to check it and make sure that it's done or it doesn't need more water or whatever because I don't know how to measure. A rice cooker can save your life. So definitely invest in one of those if you eat a lot of rice. I would say for things like you can make salads or your overnight oats in mason jars and things like that. I love using mason jars for a lot of different things. You can put sauces, dressings, all kinds of things in mason jars. So that's another tool that I would say definitely invest in if you can. Simple things like Ziploc baggies for your snacks that you don't always think about. Like it's so easy to portion out your snacks for the week, stick them in their little bags, and you can just grab and go. And like make your life as easy as possible. Grab and go type stuff, I absolutely love. And then also we have these colored containers that we use that you can also use for your meal prep because it's an easy way, one, to just portion out the food that you're going to eat in a day. So there's some people who, you know, I guess we don't do it as much because we've been using this container system for so long to portion out our food. I feel like we can just kind of eyeball how much food we eat. But there are many, many people who use these to kind of, okay, yellow are my carbs. So this is how many carbs I'm going to have in each meal. And so they'll take, you know, okay, here's rice. I'm going to put it in this Tupperware and this Tupperware and do that with, you know, each one of their container colors. There are also people who use these containers daily and, you know, they'll fill them with food and take them to work. So they know, okay, I'm eating this much fruit. And, you know, you don't have to think about it because it's measured out for you. So that's just another tool that I think as far as meal prepping and kind of eating to your goals, these containers can be extremely helpful. I'm trying to think what else. Is there anything else that you use, David, that's a cool tool that I have maybe forgotten?
I feel like the maybe cup that I keep pulling up and like drinking my water from is really handy because I think a lot of times people forget about like how important water is when they're trying to like work towards their goal and when they're meal planning. You have to drink water. You have to. I'm sorry. Like you have to. I have family members that will only drink diet soda. And I'm like, oh, Jesus be with you. I'm just like, please try and get some water in there. But I find it super handy because, you know, it has the measurement right on it. I can throw it in my bag, carry it with me. It doesn't leak and fill it up like I think 3 or 4 times at least a day. And boom, I've gotten all my water intake for the day. So I can probably palm off a bottle this size. I think it's like 25 ounces in like one workout. So by the end of my workout, I will have finished it. Then I'm going to want another one because I'm like within an inch of my life. And then I will finish another one by lunchtime and another one by the end of dinner. So, and then boom, I have like my whole water intake for the day. So definitely having a water bottle and not a little rinky dink one because nobody likes filling that up 50 million times a day. I'm not going to lie. Like it helps if you have one that like fits in your hand and is big enough to hold a decent amount of water. You mentioned the containers. I really love them because it's like some of the food that we eat in our meal plans, we don't necessarily have to measure. For example, on the plans that Clinicia and I follow, a large banana, half of that is usually 1 serving of fruit. So it's like, I don't need to measure out a banana. Like I can look at it and tell you like, okay, this is going to be 2 servings. But something like grapes, I might need to measure. So when I would go to work, I would be like, okay, I'm going to grab this banana. I know that's 2 servings, but I need 1 more. So I just fill the container up with grapes, slap the top on it, and go. And it's like, great, one less piece of Tupperware I had to like find on my own or like pull out. Um, and then also with the Tupperware, you know, a lot of these tips go hand in hand. They're like really overlapping. But part of the convenience of, or I guess part of the great thing of meal planning is the convenience. So you can use your Tupperware and make your own TV dinner freezer meal type deal. That's why lean cuisines and everything are so catchy and like such a great thing to grab in the store. But you don't know what's going in there. You don't know what, you know, byproducts and what chemicals and what like preservatives and additives they put in there. So what you can do is make your own, put it in the freezer, and then when you want it, or if you had a late work night or a late study night or what have you, grab it, pop it in the microwave, and boom, it's just as convenient as buying it in the store, and it's probably cheaper.
Yeah. Honestly, if you take nothing away from this conversation tonight, that's one of my favorite things, especially like you said, you were a busy professional, and so was I before I became a full-time coach. And there were some nights I would come home from work and I couldn't even think about looking in the refrigerator to think about what to cook. And oftentimes I would have already walked past the grocery store to get to my apartment anyway. So I probably stopped and bought a lean cuisine.
Mm-hmm.
So to have something that's already kind of ready-made, and if I'm going to use the microwave anyway, if it's something that I made and I know that the ingredients are clean and good and I can pronounce all, like, I would much rather eat that than, you know, whatever I grabbed off the shelf that has 700 different things in it that I've never heard of.
Absolutely. Because I know I used to stock up on them, and that was honestly one of the main reasons why I used to eat fast. It was convenient, it was late, and I was tired, and I didn't feel like cooking. So, and I still am that way today. I don't like cooking when I'm hungry, so I have to have something prepared and ready to go for when that hunger strikes. And that's also the great thing about meal planning. We also talked about last week about having a plan B. So when you're meal prepping, you can follow that meal plan and have everything prepped and it's like all well and good, but you should kind of like have a plan B ready and waiting to go, right? So like in your car, it's good to put like healthy snacks. So and things that won't perish so that you can leave it in your car. So like trail mix is like a really good idea. And have that pre-portioned out in your car so you know that, you know, it's a long drive home and I'm super hungry and I'm not gonna like make it till dinner time so that you're not tempted to pull into the nearest McDonald's or what have you, or Wendy's, or you know whatever you have near you, and have that temptation. You can kind of like skirt around it. I used to pack like carrots and grapes to have with me at work so that I could like nosh at something at my desk. I'm the type of person where I'm like, do not ask me to do anything if I am hungry. I cannot think straight. And I'm also the type of person where if I'm doing a mindless activity, and I used to like go through spreadsheets and do HTML coding and like really just monotonous things, and I would love to have something to like nosh on. And so rather than go and grab whatever was in like the break room or run downstairs and like grab popcorn or something, I would have my snacks ready and waiting to go. So even if it's not in your meal plan, it's good to have things in the fridge, like just in case. Um, Another good just in case example is frozen grapes. I put this like on all of my clients' meal plans as like their optional dessert because it tastes like candy, kind of like it brings out the sweetness. It's cold, so kind of reminds you of like an ice cream or like a popsicle type of thing. It's bite size, it's snacky. Kids love it. Um, if you, I'm not, I wouldn't give it to babies, but like bigger kids, like my daughter's losing her teeth, so sometimes her gums are sore. So it's fun for her to have something cold in her mouth, but I also know that it's healthy, so I feel good about it. And it's not like I shoved the popsicle in the kid's mouth. So that's a good one. You could even do frozen bananas, and then if you want to do like a nice cream and make, you know, faux ice cream and mix that in the food processor with some strawberries, you can have like strawberry ice cream. I really like mine with mango and coconut, so it's like kind of tropical and fun. But there are plenty of ideas out there. Again, this is why it's like great to have a coach so they can kind of like guide and direct you when you're struggling or when you have cravings and like how to fight them or how to plan for it and how to have these plan Bs. But it's always good to have a backup.
Seriously, because I mean, sometimes life happens and you have to have some sort of plan B so that you don't freak out or like revert to bad habits and like find the nearest drive through. So Dave is 100% right. Just know that everything doesn't always go according to plan, though, you know, you want to plan as much as you can, but just know that there are going to be times where you're going to just need that little bit of backup. And it's so helpful when you prepare yourself.
You got to have a plan B and then a plan to get back on track when you fall off track, instead of just saying, okay, to hell with it, or I quit, and then you have to start over once again. And then even, I think we talked about this last time, like if you know you're going to be in a meeting or you know you're going to go out to eat, you can plan for that. There, of course, there's no meal prep, but the prep to that would be checking out the menu to the restaurant that you're going to head to. My birthday's coming up next month. I sent everybody the link to the website for the restaurant I want to go to, and it's like you can check out what's on the menu, you can plan, look up the calories, do what you got to do, but it doesn't mean that you have to completely go off the hinges.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's something that a lot of people kind of have trouble with as well. And again, like, I don't know, I feel like we keep coming back to that point where it's so nice to have somebody like a coach who can just help guide you, you know, somebody that you can just, you know, pick up the phone and say, hey, Dava, this is what I want to do. My friend is having a party, you know, what should I do? And, you know, David can be the person to say, like, hey, you know, it's no problem. Like, you can go out and you can have a good time, and this is how you adjust the rest of your life around that weekend.
Yeah, it's actually funny. And Khadijah and I both host monthly challenge groups where we connect people with a program and a meal plan, and we keep them motivated throughout the month. And I think it was yesterday, I posted in the group and I just did a poll and I asked them, you know, what are you struggling with? Is it being consistent? Is it finding recipes that you really enjoy? Is it, you know, sticking to your meal plan, or like meal planning or meal prepping? And two of the people actually said it was the meal planning prep part that got them. So I sent them the link to the last call so that they can check that out and, you know, start getting a little bit more clear direction down that path of meal planning. A couple people said it was being consistent, and, you know, whatever their answer was, I was able to direct them in a way that would help them. They're like, yes, thank you so much. That sounds perfect. Like, great. And I was just so happy. But it's like, had they not had somebody to ask, or had somebody there that would ask them, would they have just given up? Would they have fallen off track? Or, you know, would they have reached their goals as best as they could have? I don't know. But I do feel good knowing that they're on a more directed course now. And then so today I posted like a random like spot check, and I was like, all right, accountability check for your nutrition. What did you eat for dinner tonight? And then everybody commented with what they ate for dinner. And I was like, you know what? I'm really proud of you guys. Like, not everybody was perfect, but they tried, and they're working towards their goals. And I can see that effort and that growth in them. So it was like a proud mom moment, proud coach.
Yeah. But too, it's not, you know, I think we recognize too that we're human. We're all human. We're not perfect 100% of the time. You and I, you know, we do this for a living, and we're not perfect 100% of the time. So I think recognizing that, you know, sometimes we fail, and that's okay. We just get back up the next day and keep going is really important. And I feel like there's so many people who are like, oh, you know, I couldn't do this meal planning thing. I couldn't do the meal prep. I'm just going to give up on it. No, it's okay that you didn't get it right the first time. Try again, because it'll come to you.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I used to spend hours in the kitchen. Now I'm down to like 30 minutes.
Damn.
And it's funny because there's this really great article that Autumn Calabrese didn't write it, but it was about Autumn Calabrese. And she basically bought a meal for herself and her son at a fast food restaurant. Like, you know, he got the typical chicken nuggets, a soda, and she got like a chicken sandwich, a large fry, and a soda. And they put how much that cost. She went out and she bought the same exact stuff, so ingredients to make a similar meal for herself and her son. She has a son, Dominic, to make at home. And they put the cost of that. The only really difference was that when you buy food at the grocery store, of course, you're buying more than enough for one portion. So they noted that and kind of like, you know, did the division appropriately, and said, you know, she had enough for like 2 meals. The son had enough chicken nuggets for the whole week, like enough French fries for the week because she made homemade fries and all that. It actually turned out that she spent less money than she would have at the fast food restaurant. And I think that's something a lot of people are like, I can't eat healthy, I can't meal prep, I can't meal plan, it's too expensive, and that's why I eat out. I'm like, well, if you're able to plan and prep in advance, it's not that expensive. The only thing that it was really more of was more time because, of course, like, she had to dice um, the potato and cut it and cook the chicken and all those things. So no, it is not as fast and immediate, but if you did it in advance and meal prepped, it could be just as immediate. There's that before work, but when you're hungry and want it, it'll be there ready and waiting for you. And you save money and you know the ingredients and it's good for you. And you kind of like can feel proud that like, hey, I made this.
And think of the lesson she taught her son. I think that's so beautiful. I love that.
Well, she is a trainer. I'm sure he gets like lots of tips from his mom. He's probably like, come on. And then her brother is a chef. So yeah, there's a lot of healthy eating and fitness going around in that household, I'm sure.
That's awesome. I think that's honestly an amazing note to close on tonight. If nobody has questions in the audience, give it a second.
I don't see any right now. I will say that next week we're going to be talking about superfoods and really getting into what are some examples of superfoods and how you can work them into your diet. What is a superfood and why should I care? Like, is it just marketing? Is it, something real? We'll get into all the nitty gritty. It'll be a really great discussion between Clinesia and I. So I hope you guys come back. I hope you bring a friend. I hope you bring a notepad and are ready to take some notes because we really want you guys to be able to take lessons away from this, not just watch it for entertainment. I know we're like really fun to look at. We're like really funny and stuff, but we're really here to like, empower you guys with education and so that you can make better decisions for your lives and empower those around you as well. So I don't see any questions.
I don't see any either. Thank you guys again for tuning in. You can always catch the replay right here on Blab, or we upload these videos to our YouTube channel. So definitely check them out. Share them with somebody if you know somebody who could benefit from a topic that we've already discussed, whether it's tonight's episode or one from a past week. Share those things. And like David said, bring your friends and your family to the next episode. I love talking about superfoods. There's just so much to learn about them. So I'm very excited for the next conversation and definitely hope to see you all there and more. Talk to you soon.
So we'll talk to you Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern time. See you guys there.
Bye.
Bye.